before the fight. A great episode. We wrapped the weekend's events, Ace Boxing Promotions, the card that they had. Lots to talk about there. At home this week with Jason Moloney, Iron Sharpens Iron at the boxing shop, and of course the Tolj tapes. Let's get started. My co-host, Shotgun, Shannon O'Connell, how are you?
I'm great. It's fight week.
It is fight week. Cama.
I'm doing great, mate. I'm very excited about the upcoming week of fights.
Mate, lots to talk about. Let's get started. But quickly, you've had a fight announcement.
Yes, I'll be fighting Luke Woods May 15 in Brisbane. The venue's not announced just yet because we haven't confirmed it, but it's for a WBC Australasia title at super welterweight, so pretty excited.
Yeah, and Dempsey McKean's going to be fighting as well. That was both announced at the Ace Boxing event on the weekend. So good to see that we've got a couple of great fights coming up. Speaking of fights coming up, fight week, Shotgun, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I mean, obviously I'll feel better in a few days' time after I've gotten on the scales, but I feel good.
Now you fly out Thursday, yeah, for Bendigo?
Yeah, we fly out Thursday, weigh-ins Friday, fight Saturday, come home Sunday.
It's going to be a whirlwind 4 days.
Yeah.
Final spar happened with Taylor Robinson on Friday.
We did 8 rounds Friday, so that was good. She's got a fight this weekend as well, so I've had some really good rounds this whole prep.
Yeah, I think you've done more rounds this time than you've done before, yeah?
I haven't counted, but I reckon I've done well over 120, 130 rounds over the 8 weeks. So,
you know, a lot of girls helping girls out, a lot of great rounds happening, and we're looking forward to a really big weekend from you.
Yeah, it'll be a good fight. I only found out this morning that we're actually the semi-main, so it's going to be exciting.
You can catch it on Mundine and Zarafa TV, which is the link to Epicenter TV this weekend, but an absolute must-watch. Blake Caparello versus Farah Chevalier, and obviously Michael Zarafa versus Anthony Mundine. Iron Sharpens Iron, a new segment that we've brought in, giving us all the tips that you need for the amateurs and the pros, brought to us by Gareth Williams and the Boxing Shop.
This is Iron Sharpens Iron, and I'm Gareth Williams. On today's episode, we're going to talk about the importance of balance and transferring the body weight. So today I've got Taylor Robinson with me, obviously a professional boxer, former Commonwealth Games bronze medalist. We're going to work on generally today how we stand and transfer our body weight. So show us your stance, Taylor. So generally you'll notice her knees are slightly bent, okay? The reason being, we want the weight on the balls of our feet. When the weight's on the balls of our feet, you can move and you can adjust your body weight. So transfer weight forward and back, Taylor. See, when your heels are down too much, it's really hard to move. So from your, just lift your toe, Taylor. If you go heel, toe to push off, it's a slow movement. So what we're trying to do is eliminate the heels. So we go toe and balls of the foot, so you can always push off. And watch how Taylor just glides around the ring on the balls of her feet, and it's always a fast action. Just like a good building, we have strong foundations. If you've got a strong foundation, you can adjust to retreat, or you can push forward to attack.
So the Boxing Shop has a fight night coming up this weekend, and great to see some fighters that have turned pro and been struggling to get some fights during the 2020 period get back in the ring under the lights.
It's actually a really good card. There's Sam Cameron Haynes having his pro debut, as well as Dave Hadfield. So I definitely would have been there watching if I wasn't fighting myself. It'd be a good card.
Taylor Robinson, the bronze medalist, getting her second pro fight against Maya Nixon, moving over from kickboxing and having her first boxing fight, but good to get some rounds out.
Yeah, absolutely. They struggled getting her an opponent. Obviously, her name and what people know about Taylor is always going to be a struggle. So it's good that they finally locked one in.
Jack Bowen getting a fight against Thomas Wilkins, as we know, beat Josh Fredrickson.
Yeah, it'd be a good fight. Like I do think that he's going to struggle getting opponents as well. Jack's got a good name from the amateurs, so I think that they're going to struggle with both Jack and Taylor.
Jack Bowen, an amazing talent, been getting great rounds in with Benny Marnie. You know, Rowan Murdoch, things like that. He can really mix it up with some guys that have been there and done that in the pro career. And I think if you're going to be looking out for a career that's going to be very exciting, Jack Bowens is the one to watch out for. This week's At Home was with Jason Moloney. He took us into his life and showed us how he lives.
I'm going through a bit of a rough patch on the table at the moment, but I'll turn that around. He got lucky last time, as you saw, but today, 21-9, 21-7, no competition. Very embarrassing for him with the cameras here today, but that's what happens on a daily basis. He just got lucky last time and caught me off guard, but that's what happens every day. Still don't have a fight date locked in, but we're working hard every day and just want to keep getting better and better. And as soon as we have a fight date announced, I really want to make a statement and make this a massive year for both me and Edric. Got such a great setup here. Everyone here just comes here to work hard and they just want to be the best they can be. And got a good little stable with myself and Andrew, obviously, but with Bruno Torimo and now Luke Boyd and Liam Cullinan and Barry Hall, and yeah, just a great group of guys. We all have good fun, but we come here to work hard. Hoping that we'll be out in June, but they're still up in the air at the moment. We really would have liked to have got out earlier in the year, but it just gives us more time to prepare, and we're improving every day. So the longer they wait, the better we're going to get.
Oh, look, they're certainly elite. There's no doubt about that. They're obviously, world ranked in the top 3, both of them. But their professionalism, and this is obviously their job, but they take it very seriously. Some people do it as a profession, but don't take it as serious as what they could. These guys do absolutely everything. Got the I's, crossed the T's. Very, very professional. As I said, I've been in the AFL system for 17 years, and these guys are certainly up there in terms of professionalism.
Mate, I couldn't put it down to anything, one thing in particular, but they're just champions, period. Everything about them. Gentlemen, hard workers, fighters.
Yeah, me and Andrew are extremely driven, and I don't know if that's just something we're born with or if it's something that we've been taught lessons from our parents. Dad's an extremely hard worker and always looked up to him, but we're not anywhere near satisfied with what we've done in the sport so far. We've only just scratched the surface, so we've got to keep working hard, keep chipping away, and achieve these big dreams.
When he's with her, he's completely with her, because obviously he does have to spend a lot of time apart from us, which is hard. But then when he's home, we're very lucky in the sense that he doesn't go off to a 9-to-5 job. His training looks a little bit different when it's not just before a fight, and so we have a lot of family time together, which is really nice. I just think we're a good team. I think we understand each other. We understand our differences.
It's very easy.
Yeah,
it comes natural.
It is. It's easy. It's we're not perfect by any means, but I think we're working towards the same thing. At the end of the day as well, like Jason obviously has his job, and sometimes I struggle a little bit on my own with Isla, but then when I remind myself that this is my job too, and what I'm doing here while he's away is, working towards the same thing.
She puts a lot of pressure on herself when she's alone, but she's an incredible mum, and Isla's so lucky to have her, and Isla just adores Georgia, which is so good to see. And yeah, it's just such a easy relationship. We both just support each other in everything we do, and got the same, we're working towards the same thing, and yeah, we just both love each other. We never fight, never argue.
No, but he does sleep with Peter Alexander pyjama shorts.
They're comfy, mate. They're comfy.
He's got a few pairs. We have matching.
Whole family's got a matching set. It's part of our lifestyle up here, part of our downtime, part of our family time. When we have a chance to all be together and do something for the afternoon, we'll go to the beach, the creek, we'll just, it's very important. I think it calms us all, makes us all feel grounded. it's such a benefit, I think. Obviously, when we lived in Melbourne, it was always boxing, and didn't have a family and didn't have that, I guess, balance. So I've found it really beneficial living here and having the family to have those moments to switch off and just, I guess, sort of balance life a little bit, take your mind and take the pressure away from boxing for a moment and just enjoy life with your family.
Let's wrap the Ace boxing card fight that we were at on the weekend. Great fight night. We start out with Beck Hawker, Amanda Klein. Amanda Klein, training out of Trading Blows Gym, run by Craig the Mongrel Monagle up in Toowoomba. She came to fight. A big weight for Beck Hawker. She feels like at the end of that fight she wants to come back down to a more comfortable weight.
Yeah, so she had her first fight at featherweight and she made that pretty easy. So I think Beck will be a good super bantamweight. She'll be nice and strong.
Yeah, I thought she boxed really well. She actually fought better than she was actually training, I thought. She found the range pretty well and she landed her shot, so I thought it was a good performance.
She definitely noticed the weight adjustment, but she also made the adjustments in the ring where she had to, and I thought boxed a fight that she was fairly comfortable with, but you could tell she definitely had to make those adjustments. She wasn't initially comfortable with them, but did what she had to do to get the W on the night. Kato versus Ben Kelleher. That was an absolute cracking fight. The boys just turned each other onto the ropes at any given time and teed off on each other. Ben Kelleher getting the unanimous points decision, but Kato always shows up to fight.
I actually personally think Kato could be really good if he had the right guidance, like if he had a proper trainer and gym and stability. I think Kato could have actually been something special.
Fought Liam Cullinan in his last fight, which was a close one. Again, this is all by training himself and put on a fair show against Kelleher.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a real good fight. I've seen Kato fight a couple of times. The first time I seen him, it was the first time I'd actually ever heard of him. So I thought, who is this dude? But he went against a tough opponent like Ben Kelleher. He threw down. He went the distance. So all credit to him.
Now, from that fight, there was an announcement that is going to be a Townsville fight night held by Ace Boxing Promotions, and Ben Kelleher will be fighting Mark Bam Bam Flanagan at cruiserweight up in Townsville. That fight card on June 26th up in Townsville on Ace Boxing Promotions. Liam Paro doing a bit of charity work, the boys up there, to try and give back to the troubled youth in the community up there and try and show them that boxing is a way of getting off the streets. Justin Frost, Waylon Law, had an IBF title in there as well as the Australian title at super lightweight. Great fight. Waylon dropped in the second, boxed well, came back, stopped in the 10th, but an absolutely cracking fight.
Yeah, wow. I mean, I've always said that about Waylon. He's so tough. So, but I did predict it was going to get a little bit further apart each time. So,
and nailed it on the head there, Shotgun. Camo, what do you think?
I think Waylon showed his boxing skill, but you could just see that Justin Frost was the bigger and the stronger guy in the ring. And you could see every time that Frosty was landing a shot, Waylon wasn't liking it. Whereas when Waylon was throwing his shots, it wasn't really bothering Frosty too much. But as the last two fights were with him, it was a great fight, and the whole crowd were going crazy. So yeah.
A lot of support behind Waylon. He's been signed for another 2 fights through Ace Boxing Promotions already. Big things coming on for Frosty now. He gets to move up and move on. He's answered that call.
So let's not forget, though, that Waylon has fought at featherweight as a pro, as an adult. So I guess that's a big jump. Like you wouldn't get Frosty down to featherweight. So there's a lot of strength difference there, like natural strength difference.
I think the moment after the fight was great, man. Both on their knees, just thanking each other. They had a pretty deep and meaningful conversation, and I know it was great to see.
Then we move to the main event. Liam, the Prodigy Paro versus Ferocious Terry Zermanis. Liam definitely had to change the game plan up and dig deep. Got the stoppage in the 7th round, but hard work.
Terry just smothers you, and he's so awkward. So I think it showed Liam Paro's composure. He just stuck to the plan and just picked out his body and then broke him down. So it was a good performance.
This one was Liam Paro very eager to get out there and make a statement, very eager to get that ring rust out and show his skills under the lights. And I don't think they were quite ready for the level of awkwardness that Ferocious Terry Zermanis brought to the fight. There was a lot of clinching, a lot of smothering, and that seemed to upset Liam's rhythm.
What I found that was great to see from Liam, that was that he adapted, and as he adapted, made those adjustments, then he finally kind of found his range, and that's when he started to land his shots.
Yeah, so I noticed that once he started aiming at his chest a bit more, which I mean, even as a trainer, I always say when someone's moving well, aim at their chest, because if they move, you're going to hit them in the head.
It was a great stoppage as well by Terry's corner, because he would have been like down quite wide on the scorecards, and even though he hung in there and he's tough as nails, the corner stopped it.
Tony Tolj brings us into the international scene and shows us everything happening abroad.
My favourite time of the week, the Tolj tapes. It just keeps getting better.
Mate, it's just getting better and better.
Now, we've got some good stuff to talk about. Estrada Chocolatito 2. There's a card, there's a poster. Talk to us about it.
Mate, that's just a cracking fight. That's coming up this weekend. You got the WBA Super title. You've got the WBC World title on the line as well. But it's basically the top two guys in that division. I think Estrada will win it. Then something tells me Chocolatito will win it. But it's just one of those fights you just can't wait to see.
Talk us through the first fight. What happened in the first one?
The first fight was just, an all-out war. I was reading the stats the other day. I think they threw like over 2,000 punches in the fight. So Chocolatito won, and it was the WBA title. But it's also the Ring Magazine title as well. That's what Estrada holds.
Is there a venue announced?
Yeah, it's American Airlines Arena in Dallas, Texas. Mate, that's a great venue, great place. Was there a few years ago myself for WrestleMania 32 in front of 100,000 people. Just gets better and better.
Who should we look out for on the undercard?
Cecilia Brækhus is fighting for all the belts. I think Brækhus is heavy favourite there, so she should win that one. The Japanese WBA light flyweight champion.
Kagugi.
And that's one of the first Japanese signing from Matchroom.
Yeah, that's huge, and he's up against Vega.
Actually, Chocolatito is aligned with Tekken Promotions, which is Mr. Honda, and he's also got the light flyweight champion as well. So,
now, just like you and I predicted, Ruiz versus Deontay Wilder, we knew this fight was going to happen. It's the only fight that makes sense. They're in-house, and it's Deontay struggling to get an opponent. What do you think of this fight?
I think it's a great fight. I think I've seen a graphic somewhere. They're building it as like the road to redemption. Both guys coming off losses, off world titles, and they're going to put themselves right back into the mix.
Who wins and how?
Wilder had his soul taken away by Tyson Fury. With Ruiz, you're going to see if he's back off the all-you-can-eat buffet menu or if he's training properly.
Any early doors talks, venues, dates, anything? Have you heard anything?
The PBC last few shows have been at Connecticut with the COVID situation, but America's opening up a little bit and they're allowing fans back in. It's actually talk of Canelo and Billy Joe in Texas, got a capacity of 80,000, and Texas now has full capacity. So that could be very interesting.
Now, Taylor Ramirez, 22nd of May. What are we talking here in the way of venues, and what have you heard?
At the MGM. But that's not set in stone yet as well. That was initially on the 8th of May, but got moved back because of Canelo's date. So there's no clash there. Rightfully so. You don't want those two mega fights on the same date. So that's moved now to the 22nd. The venue's not finalised yet. Say the MGM is leading the way, but as in boxing, nothing surprises me.
The Tolj tapes, another great installment.
And that just gets better and better.
Moving from there, a big weekend of fights coming up. Zerafa versus Mundine, our final wrap. Your thoughts?
I have been told that Zerafa's said, I haven't heard him say it, but apparently Zerafa has said he's not going to come out and try and blow him out. He's going to box and he's going to show his skill. Personally, I think for Zerafa's future, he needs to blow Mundine out.
I agree. I think that Zerafa has to come out there and just put him away. He keeps talking about the last fight with Horn and how it shouldn't have been stopped, blah, blah. He's got to go out there and try to put on even a better performance than Horn, and Horn put him out in 90 seconds. So knowing Zerafa, I think he's going to go out there and he's going to try to go for the kill.
From there, your two mates, Faris and Blake.
Yeah. First 2 rounds is going to be literally a chess match. Who's going to throw the punch? They're going to be feinting in that. I think the fight's going to actually start after the 6th round. I don't see a stoppage in this fight, but I think after the 6th round, the fight will start. They'll start throwing more punches, but it's going to be a massive chess match and more a boxing fight for people who enjoy boxing and know boxing.
I disagree. I actually think that Blake's going to come out strong.
Look, there's chances of it. We saw his success when he came in against Broadhurst fast and hard. that he's got a little bit more condition and he's going to be a little bit more comfortable in the ring than Faris is. I think the nerves might affect Faris a little bit more.
Well, being out of the ring for 4.5 years,
Yeah.
as long as I've been out, it's 10 months. I come back feeling good, but 4.5 years is a different story. Blake's always training, always in tough training camps, so he'll be confident, and I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out swinging. He's the bigger guy.
And that's what I think as well. And knowing that your opponent, I mean, they're not dumb. Sam's not dumb. They know that Faris hasn't been in the ring for that long, so they know that those things happen. So why wouldn't you tell your fighter to come out and blow him away? I mean, I would.
Yeah.
Speaking about fighters getting blown away, Willis Meehan coming out again with his 8th stoppage out of 10 fights. There's some names getting thrown around with this big guy. There is a lot happening in the heavyweight division.
There's a big market for him right now in Australia, so he might as well get in shape, keep winning his fights, and it's massive fights for him. There's Brown, there's Gallen, there's Hooney. How many fights are there? There's Dempsey McKean if it happens,
Django.
There's that many fights out there for him.
Christina Mousy Jacobs, Lorinda Webb. Talk to us about this fight.
That's a good, evenly matched fight. The WIBA is not as well recognised anymore as it used to be, but it was the first, I believe it was the first women's only belt, because the WBC and WBA and all those belts, they never used to have women fight for them. And I'm pretty sure the WIBA was the first.
This fight happening the 27th of March in Tasmania. Look, great to see some fights happening down south.
Yeah, I was there when Mousy fought Corey. I helped out in Corey's corner. That was a really good fight. She showed how tough and determined she is, and I've also done some sparring with Lorinda. So I think it's going to be a really good fight.
Expect, done expected. So I'm on the way to interview Paul Briggs, a former world champion kickboxer and a former champion boxer as well. I done a bit of research on you before I come, obviously I knew a bit about you, but you said you turned pro in kickboxing at the age of 15.
Yep.
How's that happen?
We lied about our age. It's funny because when we actually turned 18, my brother and I were like, it's a big thing. It's like, yeah, we're 18 now, we're adults. And everyone's like, hang on a sec, you've been 18 for 3 years.
Well, you've been pretty much.
This is rubbish. So yeah.
And they never found out, they didn't do anything cause
nah, what do you do? I mean, back then, Muay Thai was it was kind of like the Wild Wild West of the fight game, I was world rated at 17. I knocked out a Japanese fighter, Taikin. He was like a superstar in Japan. And in 2001, I fought on the undercard of a Mayweather-Pacquiao double main event. Because they were both promoted by Arum. Mayweather fought a Mexican, and Manny fought. So Manny defended his IBF title, and I was training with at Wildcard with Freddie, and so I was running with Manny every morning.
Oh, no way.
And he'd make me put his IBF belt on every morning. I'm like, put it on the first time. It's like, this is amazing. Second time, this is good. Third time, it's like, come on, let's run. Fourth time, it's like, dude.
What belt did you fight Adamek for?
WBC.
Oh, was it?
Yep. I was the #1 contender for 2.5 years at WBC.
Before fighting him?
Yep.
Then you fought him to a majority decision. Which one, because they're both majorities, but which one do you think was the closest one? Because you dropped him in the
first one.
The first one was?
Yeah. That's why we fought Muay Thai, because my mum was like, you're never going to box. My sons are never going to box, because my father was a boxer.
So she rather you do Muay Thai than box?
Work that one out. I would rather you get kicked in the head, elbowed, and then punched in the face.
What's the hardest thing about fighting in Muay Thai, and what's the hardest thing about fighting in boxing? So what's the biggest challenge out of both of them?
Muay Thai, the leg damage.
Yeah.
I think the hardest thing with boxing is the fact that it's a sprint for the duration of a marathon.
Yeah. Would you change from a 4 to a 10?
Yeah.
What would you change?
My work rate. I had gentlemen say to me in the gym when I'd just become world rated, and he said, you know what, you rely on your power too much, your work rate is not up there. When you get to America, you're going to come up against someone who can take what you got and still be there, and they're just going to outpoint you. And that's exactly what Adamek did twice. I relied on my power way too much, so it was a blessing. Power was a blessing and a curse. Guys with incredible power, we work on work rate. I think that boxing is we're starting to move it's become well respected worldwide again because of Eddie Hearn and because of Matchroom and what they're doing, you know, really taking some of the best fights to the people. And I just think that boxing, even from a principle perspective around balance, you know, has so much to offer.
I just want to say a big thanks to for jumping in the car with me today, man.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's always a pleasure catching up with you.
Yeah, it is. When I watch your videos, I watch the whole thing. Awesome. So I find that you analyse everything and like you don't miss any details. I think that's what makes you such a good trainer. Like there's fighters, then there's trainers. You're a great fighter, but I think you'll be actually a better trainer, man.
That's the goal, you know, and some fighters just can't make the transition into being a coach. You know, but there's an amazing journey around humility for a fighter to become a coach and to become selfless, because it's not about you anymore. It's about your charge, and it's about the man that you're spending every day within the gym and the how you're developing them, and it's just absolutely got nothing to do with you anymore. Other than the fact that you're being of service to them.
So there we have it. A lot of fights happening this weekend. Django fighting Uriah Masaga, Jamie Myers, Ebony Bridges and Carol Earl, the Bendigo fight night. We have the fight card from the boxing shop at the Nissan Centre, and we're going to be there to capture as much of it as possible. I'm Rob Schyff, and you're watching Before the Fight.